Audio.
Hey, have you ever wondered why your CSS styles just don't get applied? So let's say you style a paragraph and boom, it behaves differently, right? So let us fix that. And to master CSS, we have two critical concepts that are the cascading behavior and simply specificity. So by the end of this video, you will confidently able to handle your CSS styles as well as solve the common headaches of CSS that the developer gets, right? So let's start with the video. So first we have the cascading. So what do you mean by this? So it simply tells you how your browsers will decide which CSS styles should be applied to an element if there are multiple rules targeting the same element. So what do you mean by this? So let me show you with example. So let's say we have two P elements. Let's say first paragraph and then simply second paragraph, and let's say we style them. So we have set the color of the first paragraph to red and the second paragraph to yellow. So what do you think? Which color will get applied to the P element? So how the browser will decide this? Or let's say instead of this, we simply have a single P element with the class as paragraph class and with the ID as paragraph ID. And now let's say we want to style it. First, simply with the element name. So let's say the color this time yellow, and then let's say we want to style it with ID name. So simply paragraph ID, and this time the color red. And lastly, let's say we want to style it with class name. Now let's say this time color green simply. So what do you think? Which effect will take place? Like the first style, that is with the element, or with the ID name, or with the class name. So how the browser will decide which color to give to the P element? So this is done with the help of cascading. It tells the browser how to decide. So how it will decide? Simply first with the specificity that we will see, then the source order, and then at last the importance. That is by using this important property. But wait, you will tell that who does this kind of thing? Like we have a single element with the class and ID, and who will try to do this? Like style the same element, single element, using three different types. So where this thing will be used? So let's say you are using Bootstrap. So imagine you use Bootstrap to style your paragraph text with blue, and you want to change it to red, maybe some other color. Then you will need a more specific rule to override it, right? You cannot simply change the Bootstrap predefined styles. You need a more specific rule. And secondly, say you are working on a collaborative project. Let's say you are in a team and developers may target the same element. Let's say one developer styles using the element name directly, and while the another prefers using the ID name, or let's say the third one prefers using the class name. Then there will be confusions of which style will take place. So that time, that thing will be decided with the help of these things. So let's see them one by one. So first we have specificity. So what do you mean by this? You can imagine this to be a ranking system that is used by the browsers to decide which style will be applied or which will take precedence. And how specificity is calculated? To see, you need to remember this. So the inline styles simply that you do with the help of style attribute has the highest specificity, then the ID selector simply, and in the third we have the classes, the attributes and the pseudo classes, and then at last we have the element name, that is simply this, like using the element name, and pseudo elements as we have this before, and we have the highest specificity of inline styles as 1, 0, 0, 0. So let me tell you one trick to remember this. So you can think of this as simply 1000, although it is not 1000, it is simply 1, 0, 0, 0. But to remember this, you can think of this as 1000 and ID selectors as 100 and simply 10 to the classes, and for this simply 1. So now you can remember this, right? So you need to remember only that is the inline styles has the highest specificity, then ID selectors, then classes, then the elements and pseudo elements. So let's have this with examples, then only you will understand. So here we have styled the same element by the element name first, then with the help of ID name, then with the help of class name. So according to this, the table ID selectors have the highest specificity, so the color of the paragraph will get changed to red. So see. So let's take one more example. So let's say now we have styled using the element name and simply the class. So classes also have higher specificity than the elements. So simply this time the color will be green. So see. And let's take one example of inline styling as well. So here only we have, let's say, style attribute as simply, so let's say color simply blue violet, and let's say we have this also. So now we are styling the same element, that is P element, first by using inline style, then with the help of class name, ID name, and simply we pick the element. So we have styled the same element by 4 different ways. So now as we have inline styling as the highest specificity, then according to this the color will be blue violet. So see. So let's say now instead of this, now let's take the example of our 2 P elements. So let's say we have 2 P elements, that is the first paragraph and the second paragraph, and let's say, so now we are styling the P elements like the first one. So the first style simply as color red and the second style color yellow. So this time we are styling the P element directly by the name, that is by using the element only. So now we have the same specificity. So what do you think this time which style will be applied? So now here comes the second part, that is the source order. So if the specificity is same, then simply the source order comes into play and the last style will simply win. It means here we have P color as yellow, the last style, the first style is simply the color red, the second style which is the last style is yellow. So if we have the same specificity, then this color yellow will be applied. So see, both of them got yellow color. So now we have our third way, that is important. That is the importance. So what do you mean by this important property? It will override everything. It means, let's say, if specificity is same here, so according to our rule, the last style should win. So the paragraph should get yellow color, right? So let's say if I use important property, then simply the red color will be applied. This important property will override everything. So see, although we have a rule that says the last style should win, but as I have used important property, so the paragraph got red color. And here also, let's say, we have again our style attribute with color as simply, let's say, brown. So inline styling with color as brown, and with the help of class name color green, and with the help of ID color red, and simply directly picking the element that will be color yellow. So according to our rule, whichever will have higher specificity, its style will be given to the P element, right? So as we have the inline styling as the highest specificity, then simply according to that, the color of this should be brown. So now it will be brown. So see, but let's say if I used important property here in the color yellow part, then the color will be simply yellow. So see, so these were the three methods that is used to decide whichever style will be applied to the element. So this way the browser decides, right? And at last we have simply the best practices to use CSS. So simply we need to avoid inline styling as these are hard to maintain and debug, and we should always use classes over IDs as those are more flexible for reuse, right? Then we need to be intentional with the selectors. We should not overcomplicate them, and we should also minimize the use of important property as this should be our only last option. So yes, that's it for this video. Hope you understood this in a much better way. So see you all in the next one. Till then, take care.